know what you're going to ask me. Why is it that the country is starting to slow down and shut down again? Also a warning, this will contain a very political viewpoint, my political viewpoint and opinion, with some levels of coarse language and mature content references. Viewer discretion is advised. Anyway, why do I believe it? Well, it's a threefold thing. Did we try to reopen too quickly? On that, I'd say is 15% true. We were going at a decent clip. Where's the other 85% though fit in when you're going to ask me? 35% of, well, 37% of it, 32% of it is from the fact there's mass panic over the virus and people are still running to test sites to be tested. It's fear that's driving that. And finally, Black Lives Matter protests, which make up the bulk of the 52% of the remaining 52%. 48%. 53%. As to why, in my opinion, we've been slowed down. Reopening has slowed down in most parts, in about half the country. And in some cases, going backwards. And most of these are happening in Democrat-run states and cities. In governed states and cities. They don't care about the BLM protests. To them, it's a means to an end. And what's the end? Getting Trump out of the White House in November. Getting President Trump out of the White House in November. And why? So they can make money off it. From who? George effing Soros. The one who funds Black Lives Matter, funds Antifa, Open Border Society, and every other small, big pharma, is a major contributor to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the CDC, the NIH, and the WHO. All of whom I can say, go fuck yourselves to the depths of hell. They don't want to give us hydroxychloroquine because Fauci says so, because he knows he can't make green off it. Because it's been around long before he was made head of the CDC and the NIH. Forcing the economy to shut down again will be his death wish. Will be leading him to a death sentence, in my opinion. I mean, getting rid of the cops, that's even dumber. Whether it be defunding the cops or disbanding the force completely. And making matters worse, in Republican-governed states and cities, we now have another problem. NFAC, basically a more violent, violent and extremist variant of BLM without only it's exclusively made of black armed forces people who are either discharged, dismissed, or retired, who want to secede a portion of Texas and just succeed Texas for themselves. Hey, Governor Abed, wake up! You got revolutionaries you need to put down. And then you have the rhinos in the Senate who want to get rid of holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, Patriot Day, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, Mother and Father's Day, St. Patrick's Day, April Fool's Day, Easter Sunday, Palm Sunday, Passover, Ash Wednesday. There's a lot of bad apples on both sides. And then there's the press hiding the truth. Anyone who saw V for Vendetta knows where I'm going with this. There's even one case, one scene where one of the heads of the studio say, "We're not supposed to report the news. We're not supposed to report the truth. We're supposed to fabricate it." And that's what CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, ABC, and CBS do. They fabricate or cover up the truth. It's why I go to the YouTube conservative underground for my news. They're at least honest to a fault. President Trump, here's what I want you to do when you're reelected in November and get back in January. I don't want you to drain the swamp. I want you to drive the swamp monsters out and burn their fucking swamp to the ground. You burn the deep state swamp straight to the ground. Label George Soros as a fucking criminal, which cuts off all funds to Antifa, BLM, and all of his other organizations, and have those who have been taking politicians who've been taking pocket money from him thrown in the fucking hoosgow. Al, team up with Shapiro, get an amendment that states that Congress only gets 2 terms. That those in Congress, whether it be the Senate or the House, can only serve 2 terms at a time. And no more. So that way, career politicians can't abuse their positions for as long as they've been in the position of power. And that's about all I've got off the top of my head on what you need to do, Mr. President, when you're back in office in January 2021 after you beat Joe Biden. Kanye interference or Kanye running on the ticket or otherwise. Kanye running third party on the ticket or otherwise. We need to preserve American history, not destroy it. We need to preserve our democracy, not replace it with communist shit. More importantly, we need to get the U.S. out of the UNO and the WHO. Well, actually, we got that half of the equation done. We just need to get them out of the UN, because now it's become overly globalist. Move the UNHQ out of New York City and stick it in Brussels where it belongs. Belongs along with the EU Parliament. We're reaching the end times of life, folks. And damn it, things are about to get worse before they get better. They may get better, and they may get worse. How the die is cast is up to us. But in the name of Jesus, I'm praying that Donald Trump wins the election in November and gets this country back on the right path. And all these Democrat dipshits in the Senate and the House, they are done away with. Because they don't care about the people. They only care about fattening their own pockets. And that's the truth. Smash the like button with all your strength. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye and good night. Bang.